Morning, guys. Mic check, mic check. So yesterday we did a whole video and then the microphones wasn't on. So this is take two. And the topic is scared of food, not eating, not wanting to eat.
To not eat enough at a time.
Yeah, being fearful of eating. Carbohydrates is the enemy. Rather go hungry than eat and all that. The phobia of eating or overeating or eating the wrong stuff.
And it comes particularly after or during the phase of either losing the fat that you want, reaching a goal, and then after that. So in this process, the body's already been tainted enough to have a hold on fat. You're already in a space where you need to lose fat. So you need to let go of it. If you continue with the same philosophy of either poor food choices, non-food choices, mostly that is in manufactured or fast foods, or you give it food that's too little, it's going to constantly stay in the same space. So you want to leave that philosophy behind and move into a place where you can actually, at each meal, fill yourself up. If you're using foods that you purchase, that you don't make yourself, your chances of your fear becoming a reality, in other words, not losing enough fat, hold strong. You need to try and eat or consume, prepare whole foods. Foods closest to its natural source, its origin. You cannot overeat whole foods. You definitely can overeat manufactured, processed foods. So for example, if I buy a box of cereal and my fear is that I'm going to overeat, I eat a little bit. Almost correct, because the amount of foreign substances in there, or chemicals, tastes, flavors, sugars, and bleaches, preparation of that product is so that the body doesn't recognize most of it as food and gets stored. If, however, you move to a natural origin, whole food source food, for example, you eat eggs in whatever form you need it to be, and you eat not breads, you eat things like pumpkin, butternut, potatoes. Those are the starchy things that you move more towards your water soluble type vegetables or carbohydrates, things like broccoli, baby spinach, baby marrow, spring onions, bok choy, and the list goes on, the greens. You have very little chance of overeating. Another illustration of this is if I buy a box of apple juice. Any manufacturer will punt this as really healthy, cold pressed, direct from the source. But you cannot eat as much as you can drink in terms of the amount of food in that box. It's presumably going to be at least 5 apples in the box of juice, and you won't eat that much or that many apples, but you'll drink it. So you've got to calm down in that space, philosophize. I want to eat food. You want to see it. You want to smell it. You want to taste it. You want to chew it. And then you want to swallow it. So if you take manufactured foods, for the most part, you don't really smell what it is. You do have a particular taste. And I'm going to say that taste is probably fairly induced in terms of chemical patterning, making you want it back, and the amount of fresh and different flavors and tastes in there, although it's varied, is almost the same. They've just chemicalized the taste. So for instance, if you eat watermelon and apples, two completely different tastes, textures, fibers, waters. If you eat a packet of chips or you eat a box of biscuits, the sugars are different, but much of the chemical enhancement is similar. You want to move away from those fields and eat whole food, nourish yourself until you're full at each and every meal, particularly if you're following a program of intermittent fasting. So the problem with intermittent fasting is your first meal. What are you going to eat after this extended fast? It's really important. If you put in processed manufactured foods, chances are you're going to overeat. Chances are that food's going to be stored because some of it at least is unrecognizable by the body. If you put in a bowl of vegetable soup and prepared chicken breasts or eggs or whichever source of protein you're consuming, and you add whole food carbohydrates like the greens we've mentioned, and you add some fat like an avocado, slices thereof, some nuts perhaps, even a little bit of salad dressing including olive oil or coconut oil, you won't overeat. You will nourish your body. You can't eat enough of this food to overeat. You can eat enough pancakes, muffins, croissants, breads, pastas, that type of thing. You can overeat. So initially your thinking is along the correct pathway. Slow down with the quantity and the amount. But it's not the amount of food as much as the speed of that food through your body and the incorrect food, the non-type of food that you're
So
digesting.
even if you're blending stuff, if you juice, everybody that goes onto these juice diets, you're speeding up the GI tract of the food you're consuming. So instead of eating a salad, chewing the food, getting your saliva to come to the party, secrete digestive enzymes, sending the signal to the mind that there's food and we should start digesting it and it's nice and nutritious. You juice it, you swallow it, the digestive tract has no idea what this is now. It's a liquid pulp. It needs to sort it out. It's struggling to sort it out. But not just that, if it was a whole food form, it would take your system roughly 3 to 4 hours to break that down and make it available. So if you juice it, you're now canceling out the digestive process. It's being digested for you because you sliced and diced it. It's now liquid. So the speed at which it enters your bloodstream is much faster than it would have been if you ate, chew, have it digested, break down, and slowly enter the bloodstream. So even the biggest vegetable, in terms of the healthiest one, if you slice and dice it to make it a liquid, you make it as bad for you as it would have been if it was processed. Because there's a part that you're cutting out of the process,
So what
the
you're
wholeness.
saying is you're actually processing the food.
Yes, you're making it faster. That's why juice diets don't work so well for most people. Because it's as quick, it's as fast as the food that you normally eat that spikes your insulin levels. You want something so slow, so low in GI, that it doesn't spike or upset or causes fluctuation in your blood glucose levels. By juicing something, you're going to spike it because it's easy, it's quick. So it enters the bloodstream and there's a wave. Whole foods, think of a pool of water, and you take an apple and you put the apple in the water. the apple is going to be visible and it's going to be staying there. You can identify there's the apple. If I take the smoothie, the juice, and I put it in the water, it disperses. It's everywhere. So it covers a lot of ground very fast, which is the spike. It's everywhere. It enters the bloodstream immediately. The apple has to lie down in the water, go soft, go mushy. Eventually it's going to break up and then cover the area. Whereas juice falls in the water, it's everywhere. Instant spike. The stomach is the same. And if you have foods that you know is going to spike, there's certain tricks of the tray to slow even that down. So let's say you're eating a starchy carbohydrate. You know this is going to spike. What you want to try and do in a scenario like that is either eat it with fat or eat the fat before the time. And why the fat? The fat covers most of the layering in the stomach, which have the pores and the holes, that when you eat, all that energy goes through those pores and into your stomach. By putting fat first, you're kind of covering those little holes, that net, which slows down the speed at which the glycogen is going to enter your bloodstream. So the fat slows down the digestive process and the absorption process. So a fast GI meal can be slowed down to enter the bloodstream slower by adding fat to it. Good fats. The same principle applies when you drink water. They tell you 30 minutes before a meal, drink a lot of water. But that's more to dilute the enzymes in the stomach to almost, how would you put it, stop or interfere with the process. Slow it down, but via the amount of fluid that's mixed in with it to make it almost less effective. Still effective, but less effective because there's so much fluid. It takes a longer time to break it down. And these are all ways to manipulate the GI tract, or how the food enters the bloodstream and affects the glucose in your blood. Because that spike and how it affects the blood is what causes the insulin spike or the crash. So you either crash or you spike. And our method, our methodology, our principles is to stay right in the middle of those two lines. That's your extremes, crash and spike. We don't want to crash and we don't want to spike. So we try and handle the balance between those two.
So we're working in line with the body, because the body also keeps that range really tight in terms of insulin and glucose and the whole scientific spiel. So it tries to keep the range really small. If you spike it, it's going to act as if it's an emergency and make plans immediately. Store some of the food or the sugar, the glucose, whatever it is, immediately. Use what it can in terms of the liver and the muscle availability, and then the rest gets stored. It holds on to it. The chances of that happening, if you're eating whole foods, original source foods, is much less. You can't eat that much. Your stomach can handle round about, and it's an average, 4 cups of food. So if you take strawberry ice cream, you'll eat those cups of calories immediately in about 4 or 5 spoons. But you can't eat 5 or 6, 7 cups of strawberries. The whole food, the natural source, is recognizable by the body and distributes it very effectively, highly efficient in breaking down the food and taking it to the sources that it needs, including the digestive organs, your liver, your kidney, your stomach, your colon, your spleen, and the list goes on. If you just dump it in the body, just pour down, you bypass the whole intellectual space that you're designed to utilize. in terms of accessing nutrients, minerals, energy. And you just sit with it.
To give you an example, tomato sauce. Many of the companies that have these tomato sauces claim that there is about 30 to 40 tomatoes in a 750 ml bottle of tomato sauce or ketchup. Now let's take all the sugar and all that out of it. It makes it so nice and flowy. Do you know how much is 30 tomatoes? And do you know what is 750? The bottle is about this size. Now, 30 tomatoes, unless it's cocktail tomatoes, which it's not. There is no way I can consume 30 tomatoes. Fuck, even in the span of a week. But I can eat a bottle of ketchup in one go. Do you see the difference? So it's taking something that should be big, voluminous, filled with water, molecules, enzymes, minerals, vitamins. Much of that is diminished in the process of getting that 30 tomatoes into this glass bottle of 750 ml. And that's the same for your bloodstream. If I had a tomato, I ate it raw and whole. It would take a long time to process. I'll be quite satisfied after this thing because it's quite big, it's one. Or to drink this fluid, which is 30 tomatoes. And imagine the spike I'm going to get if I consume 30 tomatoes in one go. Instant insulin spike, instant fat storage, and there's not much I can do about it because I didn't consume any whole food. So it's so fast, it's so tainted, it's so processed, it enters the bloodstream so fast that it can only spike insulin. So many times people eat the right foods, but they drown it in sauces and all kinds of dressings to make it nice, make the salad nice. That fluid sauce, salad dressing, is as effective in spiking your insulin level while you're eating the good food, and the good food is also just going to be stored as fat. The body doesn't know this is healthy, that's unhealthy. It's the way it is affected. So your action of eating the food has a reaction. And your body has it's blindfolded. It only knows there's an action and then it has to react.
So we take all this information, take it way back to the introduction of the conversation that we're having. If I personally take a plate or a bowl of my food and show somebody who's in this process or just out of the process of losing fat, attaining a healthy space. So losing fat is not so much about the scale. In fact, it's not about the scale at all. It's about reaching a healthy situation for your life. You're safe in terms of autoimmune diseases, cardiovascular diseases, respiratory, autoimmune diseases. You've worked jolly hard to get there, or you're in the process of working jolly hard. If I show people what I eat, and currently I weigh about 60 kilos, the immediate revolt at that's way too much food per meal indicates that people generally, or this fear, this perception of eating too much is going to bomb me out of my space, exists. Currently, I'm eating, and I'm not suggesting you eat what I eat. I'm just indicating something. I eat around about a cup of cooked rice, a cup of cooked lentils, and a cup and a half of mixed greens per meal, 6, 7, 8 times a day, depending on what we're training. Now, if I take that plate of food, that bowl of food, and show it around, people don't want to eat that much at once. It's too much. However, it's whole food. So the food is absorbed completely. none of it goes to waste. None of it is settled down to store. And if it is stored, the bioavailability of this type of food is such that I can access it as I need it in terms of energy sources, activation. While I'm training, I have energy to train. But training is not linked exclusively to bench presses and squats. Training is what you do for the 22, 23 hours you're not in the gym. The way you walk, the amount of times that you walk, where you're going, how many times you're up and down off of a seat or a bench or a car seat, the amount of work that you have to do, the stress involved in that is tremendous in terms of energy resources. You want to escape that feeling, that sensation of reaching 3:30 in the morning, afternoon at least, and you're utterly exhausted. It's because you've got no more energy left. Your food source is either poor in terms of quality or poor in terms of quantity. We're designed to eat to satiety. In other words, until we're full. That doesn't mean completely vomiting full. It's just full in terms of where an amount of food is going to be accessed. Generally eat until you're full per meal, as long as it's whole foods. Electricity goes out around about now. So we haven't lost focus or anything. We're just dealing with ISCOM.
Load shedding.
We're quite happy to do it. We have a goal, and literally nothing can hinder us. So what we're talking about is the food. You have a goal to lose your stored spaces of energy, your fat. You're not going to access the storage. You have a storage facility inside your body. It's a storeroom of fat. You're not going to access the space unless you go directly to it. Take the key, open it up, and come inside. The way to get there is filled with consuming energy. You've got to drive there, you've got to get there, you've got to access the space. It means you have to provide fuel, and the correct amount and type of fuel. In other words, what I'm getting at is, at each meal, eat whole foods, foods that you've prepared yourself, until you're full. And your stomach will shrink in according to the whole food. It won't be bloated. It won't be filled and leaking fat sources and inflammatory sources of food. It will take the food, shrink it, and distribute it equally and fairly, reasonably. Your perception of your body is, I've got nutrition, I can deal with this. Or if you put in processed manufactured foods, it's, I have no idea what this is, I'm storing it. I can't use it. I'm waiting for good food. And so your hunger triggers don't get turned off because you're waiting for food. And then you put in another processed meal. A process is, as you heard, you can do your own processing. You can simply take away the fiber, the minerals, and the nutrients, and just be left with the water, the juice.
That's exactly what happens. And if you can get to that understanding, that when you consume the whole food, it comes with the minerals, the vitamins, the enzymes. That is the things that your body is after. So imagine a guy standing, having to sort something out. But it's on a fast task, so there's no time to figure stuff out. That's not my job. My job, is it not? Now, your GI and your digestive tract works exactly the same. Something comes in, do I recognize it or not? No, don't. Whole foods, is there something in here I can utilize? Vitamins, minerals? Yes, that way. This is good, that's bad. Spike, store that somewhere. I don't know what that is. Next, please. Whole food, awesome. You can go that way. We need the minerals, we need the vitamins, we need the energy, the glycogen. Next thing, a bar. What is this? No, don't understand what this is. There's some things, but we don't recognize it. It's in a different format. Please store it, send it that way. And that's how the body works. It does not have the insight into the external world like you do with your eyes. It does not care for that. It doesn't care for the wrapper or how nice it is. It is looking for minerals, vitamins, energy that can make your vessel function, optimize it. And if you keep eating bars and sweets and processed things, even healthy processed foods, you have taken a critical part of that equation out, which is the digestive enzymes and your system and how it's designed to get the extraction of those minerals, vitamins. That's part of the digestive process, is to get those things extracted.
So
But
we're
now,
not,
if you do that process via a machine, you took care of it. The body doesn't know where it is, it's taken out, it got lost in all the heat and the processes of making this bar or this meal. So when you get it in, your body is eating it and it's sourcing for the vitamins and minerals. That is a slow process for your body to sift through it. It's part of the 3-hour window. It gets there, it doesn't see any multivitamins, minerals, anything of use. So it just stores it. It's got absolutely no use for us. There's nothing in here. We don't recognize it. Store it as body fat.
so it's really easy to talk about these things. And immediately I hear my own arguments. And it is spills over to everybody's. But I am eating healthily. I am eating clean. I don't eat processed foods. I don't eat foods that's junk or manufactured. True, to a degree, but if you sit down and take care of what you put in, you'll be surprised, if not astonished, at the amount of manufactured or processed food you eat. Processed food or manufactured food doesn't only indicate fast food chain stores. It doesn't indicate only McDonald's, KFC, Burger King, pizzeria shops. It indicates non-whole foods. Foods, the aisle that you walk to in the shop is indicative of your food choices, obviously. If I walk to the fresh produce section only, chances are I'm only eating whole food. If I move through to the aisles and I buy packets of sauces, bottles of sauces, tinned foods, access things like ready-made food, ready-made lasagna, ready-made soup, tins of soup, cans of tomatoes and sauces. I'm eating manufactured processed foods. And the reason for the problem area here is the chemicals added to it. The sugars, the flavorants, the chemical enhancement in terms of both of those, colors and flavors, and the effect that it has on the body is real. Again, there's a problem. It's not instantly recognizable. I don't instantly see the problem with a manufacturer of processed food. I have no particular hold on this. It just tasted really nice, so nice that I want to eat it again in 2 hours' time. But if you made your own soup, you've made your own lentil soup, your own vegetable soup, your own meat soup, whatever you're eating, you sit down calmly, switch off screens, take away music, take away or harsh music, sit down and have a look at what you're eating. Absorb the taste through your eyes. Swallow the food with enzymatic procedures. In other words, you've chewed it. And enjoy the food. Maybe for the first time in a long time. We eat on the go. Hence the necessity for, as Juan said, bars of food, bottles of food, takeaway food. We don't eat anymore. We simply consume. You're just putting it in because I need it. I feel I need it. I need the energy drink. I need the Coke. I need the bar. I need the packet of chips. I need something. So we go way back to our initial talk. Prep your food. If you're in a hurry to get somewhere, sit in the car, utilize your spaces effectively. We can't have this dream world going on of us sit down at home.
It is a
And
discipline like any other
yeah,
that you're gonna have to get used to, where every 3 hours or whatever your timing is, if you have to set an alarm, make a note, then you have to do that. Unfortunately, that's how it works. Because the more you can become consistent in that, the better understanding you and your vessel will have for each other. And the more you consume good food and whole foods, the more it's going to become apparent to you when you don't, how shit it makes you feel, how little performance you have, how slow your system becomes, sluggish, lack of performance, lack of recovery, a lack of energy in general. If I eat the wrong type of food or shit before I train, there's a distinct difference in how I'm able to train, to process the exercises that I'm doing, how it affects my body, how does it make my joints feel, am I burning fat, is my digestive tract happy, am I bloated, am I having acid reflux? These are all things that shouldn't be happening, and mostly when you consume the wrong foods, those are the things that are happening. Heartburn, I've got constant heartburn, I don't know what's happening. If you're eating stuff that your body can't break down or doesn't recognize, it's going to flood your stomach with acid to try and break it down. I have gluten intolerance. So if I eat gluten, my body doesn't have the enzyme to break down the gluten. My body doesn't understand this. My stomach, it only understands it's not breaking it down. So it sends more acid, which is counterproductive because the acid that I have can't break it down. But it doesn't know that, so it sends more. Eventually, your stomach is so filled with acid trying to break down something it can't, that your acid now starts burning holes in your stomach lining, trying to break down the gluten that your system can't break down. So your system is always trying to assist and help you, but it needs guidance from you. Because think of it as a very powerful laser. You can do a world of good if you direct that correctly, or you can do a world of harm if you point it in the wrong direction, because it's very powerful. So if you don't know what you're doing, chances are you're going to get really hurt. Even if you think it's healthy, even if the public tells you this is healthy. I was doing healthy diets and I landed up in the hospital because I was consuming foods that my body can't break down, even though it's healthy.
so healthy is open to interpretation. And we're not doctors. We're not giving you medical advice.
No, we're exercise specialists with about 40 years between us of mistakes and lessons that got us to understand that, perhaps this is not working. It's not, we didn't take the information that is out there that's just given to you. We actually went out and tested it in competition mode, in practical life. I mean, we come here and we start cardio 3:30 in the morning. And many days, the last client we have is 5 to 6. So that's way beyond a 12-hour day, working with people, training ourselves, and having to survive that and having the energy. So if you're eating the wrong stuff, and we see the people eating the wrong stuff, we've had other trainers along with us, where we will be consuming whole foods and whole meals because we're doing a prep for a show. And then we watch them get Red Bull after Red Bull after Red Bull, maybe a burger and chips, just to try and keep up with the pace. And you can see how the performance declines. Many days it's just depression. I'm not going to train today and I feel like it. Where we have a 7-day full training schedule. We never skip a day, we never miss a day, we never need to. And you see these guys cancel session after session because it's only the energy system that's leaving you open to these falls. So you have to take care and be diligent about what you put in your body. I know everybody fucking say this all the time. You are what you eat. But you truly are. And you need to decide what you want to be. That's the biggest thing that you need to identify here. Do you want to be comfortable and happy eating shit? Or do you want to perform, look good, feel good, be confident, be healthy, strong, by eating the food that's actually needed for your vessel? See, there's fun and then there's facts. So we can eat the fun stuff. It's not necessarily be conducive to any of your goals or dreams. And then you have facts. This is good for me. This is nutritious. This is a fat burning enzyme. This is a muscle building enzyme. Blah, blah, blah. Then, okay, I'm starving. This jungle oat bar is going to do.
And
You
it
are selling
does.
yourself short.
Sure, it does. It actually fills you up for a short while. It satisfies your need for some form of energy, but it's not true to your body. You're not being honest with your space. And we can only tell you this because we've done it. So, yes, let me just quickly have a bar. It will fill me up for now so that I can train, or so that I can go on this drive, or so that I can go into the meeting. I need that. But go back one step. You're not prepping your food honestly. And we've been there for years until until we ate out of shops and restaurants and cafes and
We've
fast
done
food.
preps out of shops.
Yeah.
You
So
still order the good food, but you go to shops and you have them make it, and we had an entire prep done like that.
yeah.
Because we were too busy with clients and stuff to prep food. We get home too late. There's load shedding. Before then, we didn't have the gas implements at the house. So when the power's off. You go to a restaurant and you order some rice and some whatever they have to try and get your meals in and done. And don't be scared of those options. There's a lot of people that go far and beyond their own comfort zone, traveling to other competitions all over the world. You have to make a plan if you don't have food, and you need to make the right plan. I'm going to go so far and tell you, you can go to a McDonald's and ask them, you want egg whites, you want a plain piece of bun with nothing on it, or a salad, blah, blah, blah. And you can construct a decent meal with decent nutrition wherever you go. But it's easier to just pick the one they've chosen for you. That's where the discipline comes in.
So what we're trying to establish through these talks is information that is ready, available everywhere. The confusing state of all this information, this diet, that diet, don't eat this, eat that, is to show you that in a normal lifestyle with daily demands, early to rise, late to bed, you can still make yourself very happy in your space of nutrition. Remember, the body is a function of perception. It perceives hunger or it perceives fullness. And it's up to us to try and create the space of, yes, I'm okay with this food. And we've made every single mistake under the sun. So we're trying to encourage the space of security, safety, and that will lead to satiety. Don't be afraid to eat enough at a time. In fact, there's a real fear that exists, but that's too much. So often I'll get the feedback from the client, I don't eat that amount of food in a whole day that you eat in a meal. Now that's not indicative of the amount of exercise I do, because probably all of us are on our feet for 14, 15, 16-hour days. So we're all doing roundabout the same in terms of energy demands, and focus on the body in terms of I need a nutritious supply. But we've spread it out. We've taken years to understand. You've got to nourish the body in terms of perception. If you put in enough food, and the food, as we've tried to explain through this informal talk, but it's filled with facts. It's not based on only a lecture.
Yeah, we're
It
just
is a
talking,
life experience. Yes.
chatting and telling you some experiences we've had and how we see it.
We've invited you right into our training session.
Yeah.
You're here with us.
And that's the only way it's going to work, because we see too much with what we do and where we go and people we talk to that there is really a non-understanding. There's so much information out there that it's almost you drown in it.
Yeah.
So if someone's going to come to the party and break it up into small digestible pieces for your system to actually get some information out of it and some nutrients and something that's worth having, we need to chat about this. We need to break it down into a format that you can understand and where it makes sense.
We're trying to take the stress out of all of these things. And so, yes, there is, and there are piles of information sources everywhere you go. And as Juan says, so much so that it's actually literally confusing. But we're trying to take that stress away and say it's very basic. We can give you prescriptive meals, prescriptive diets, prescriptive calorie intake, prescriptive protein, carbohydrate and fat intake. And what are we doing? We're robbing you of your actual intellectual capacity, your ability to make good choices around what you need to consume. So we're strongly encouraging enough whole food at a time. And if you have any insecurities, there's non-clarity, or you're really confused, please, I think our numbers or our ability to access, your ability to access us is readily available.
Yeah, you'll find us. I'll leave a link in the description or some numbers.
But generally speaking, honor and trust yourself, and then take the food source from the aisle that you've got to prepare it. So the general space is, and it's specific, but it's not entirely aligned to one person only, is eat what your grandmother would eat.
Depends who your grandmother was. Okay.
You know, in the country that you're in. So we're loosely saying whole food. A whole chicken is prepared with a whole lot of vegetables, with some form of salad.
The Sunday roast.
Yeah,
The good,
exactly that.
nutritious, everything goes.
And immediately as Juan says that, you think, I don't have the time for that. But you have to make supper. You have to make dinner. Double it up. Instead of just one chicken, use two. Instead of 2 cups of rice that you normally prepare for yourself at night, make 4. Instead of eating only half a butternut and half a pumpkin and half a green salad, make a whole one.
It is difficult. It is time consuming. But do you have any idea how rewarding it is if you did that and your day was successful? You got your meals in, you did a proper training session, you didn't overeat, you didn't spend time eating the wrong type of stuff. What you set out, the goal that you had, I'm going to eat 6 nutritious meals tomorrow, have an hour of proper training, really destroy the session and get a proper workout in, and then get a good night's rest. If you succeed in that, do you know how rewarding that is? Do you know what effect just eating or getting to eat your 6 prepared meals, what that win does for your system? How positive it affects you to actually reach goals that you didn't even have or knew you had. So if you are successful in something, the smallest goal, I want to get up at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, and by 4:30 I want to be out the door on my way to gym. If you succeed in that, you're already starting to win. You're already secreting dopamine and positive hormones that is going to supply you with an abundance of good feeling to chase even more goals. But if you hit the first one flat face into the wall, it's very difficult to bounce back from that. So start with the easiest goal. I want to get up and I want to make a decent cup of coffee. That's goal number 1. If you succeed in that, there goes some dopamine. Okay, I'm feeling good. I executed this plan. It's going well. Now I want to brush my teeth and I want to shower. I want to feel good. And you execute that. Goal number 2, check. And So it's just positive, just positive, just positive. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about the food you're eating. Oh, this is not nice, and I have to eat the whole fucking month like this. Forget tomorrow. Forget tomorrow. Get through today. Today, make today and this meal and the next hour as successful and productive as you possibly can. Today is not. Today is the only thing you have. Tomorrow is not promised. Yesterday is fucking gone. You have now. You have the hour of now to make it perfect. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow, I can't fucking care about tomorrow because I got too much shit to do today. I need to be successful today. Tomorrow, I will worry about tomorrow.
So your today can start tonight. So instead of seeing your day only from 6 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night, see it from 9,
12,
yeah,
midnight.
or 7 o'clock in the night till 7 o'clock the next day. So your preparation of your food starts in your today. It starts 6 o'clock I get home, 7 o'clock I make food, and that food is made for tonight and tomorrow.
And you end off being successful again. I made my meals. My
Yeah.
meals are prepped for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can go to bed with peace. And I know when I get up, my shit is sorted and I can just go. I'm already winning. I'm already ahead. I took today to put myself in a better space tomorrow. That's the only way you can work on tomorrow, is providing yourself with the best opportunities today that sets you up for tomorrow. But tomorrow is not in the plan. It's simply how you're going to end at this day, which is going to be really high, and then you continue on that the next day. So you're setting yourself up for successful tomorrow by being successful today. If it is shit today, chances are you're waking up shit tomorrow, and we continue. So really try, this is a mindset we have. Monday, which is the hardest day, it's Blue Monday, and that's when we try and be most successful, because that sets the tone for Tuesday, for Wednesday, and it's not because we're planning that. I make sure Monday is perfect, because that will make Tuesday perfect, that will make Wednesday perfect. So only the day that you are in is what you keep yourself busy with. What can I do today to make today the best day? My training session, my nutrition, my rest, my conversations, even your thinking. How are you talking to yourself? Is it positive? Is it negative? And try and change that dialogue that you have with yourself internally. Try and work on that as well. It's not all physical. Much of it is not physical at all. It's only in your mind. The issues that you have, the problems that you experience, it's a mindset. It's the way you're perceiving things. For me, it was many times when we start a diet, it's like, I'm never going to see this food again. I'm never going to have a Coke again. And then that almost like a fear, like, I'm never going to see this again. Fuck, I hate this shit. I don't want to do this. I want that. And then you start realizing, look, at any given time, I can walk to a shop or the fridge or wherever and get a Coke. I'm not allowed to have the Coke. I am choosing not to have the Coke because it's not conducive to my goals currently. And if you start looking at this, it's not you can't have. It's like, I'm choosing not to have. You take back the power. It's not about you can't and you shouldn't. No one should be telling you what to do. You should take the opportunity and the power and the confidence in making a choice and then stick to that. It's your choice. It's your responsibility. So if you choose bad, you know what's good, you know what's bad. Let's call it from here on. It's your responsibility. You know what's good, you know what's bad. If you make the wrong choice, don't moan because you're getting bad results. And if you take the good stuff, you know exactly what's going to come. You know you're going to miss the nice and the warmth and the nice feelings and the taste. Is it conducive to where I want to go? Like, my short-term satisfaction, is that killing my long-term goals, or is it actually conducive in getting me where I'm going? Don't sell yourself short for instant gratification. I want a bar now.
So that short-term satisfaction is right where the crux of the issue lies. It's so very difficult to overcome that space if you've got nothing to choose from. If you have a prepped meal, if you have last night's dinner, for argument's sake, in a bowl, in a Tupperware, it's ready, you just open it up, then it counteracts that space of, I need something now, You walk into the shop, buying a bar, buying a packet of sweets, buying a muffin, buy a ready-made meal. You didn't prepare it. It's not whole food. It's got piles of stuff in there that you shouldn't be eating. You've got the choice. I'm hungry right now. You know what? I open up my cooler bag. I take out my meal that I didn't make it specially. I just took meals from last night's food and put it into separate containers, and you eat it. It is a fantastic way to start this process. There's not much thinking involved. There's no major changes to the body. Your routine is almost the same, and you can adjust it little bit by little bit, creating security and this huge sense of foundation as you build it. Slowly, steadily, consciously, mindfully, instead of this rapid haste space of diving into something that has to change. You can't, you, if you dive into something without thinking about it, it's impulsive. There's lots of changes that need to happen, and you have this sense of insecurity as you move. I know this is going to end. I know this is going to change again. I know I'm going to come back here. I know I'm going to add on more fat. I've been here 100 times. If you just take the thoughtfulness of preparing extra food at night, whole food. Normally people eat whole food at night, or the chances are it's better. And you counter that space by putting and dividing it into 4 bowls, 4 containers. As soon as you face this dilemma of, I'm stressed, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I need food, you have it on tap. Even if you're in your vehicle all day long, or you're picking up children as you move towards schools and school times, or you're before a meeting, you have it. It's yours, it's prepared, it's secure, it's safe.
Right, people, we're going to start the day. Thank you very much for tuning in. Prepare your meals and be mindful what you put in your body. Is it conducive to your goals? Is it going to get you closer or take you further away? Thanks for being part of the conversation. Check out the videos. Leave a comment on what you want to see. This cardio confession is, we're going to try and do 10 episodes. We want to do different things. And after the 10 episodes, we'll move on to different things. Training methods, yoga, we're going to do flexibility. The traveling that's coming up, competing, how to pose, blah, blah, blah. So there's a lot of interesting things coming. But we wanted to do conversations so you get a chance to get to know us and see how we argue, how was our thinking done, how we approach a problem or nutrition or training. And we're vegan, so that side of it. And we weren't born vegan, we weren't always vegan. Why we changed and how the changes has affected us physically and mentally. All right, see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye-bye.